Hey, Real Recapped here. Today we're going to recap the film Bubble Boy. It's a romantic comedy that has a lot of laughs and weird characters. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and let's get started. This film is about a guy named Jimmy. He was born in a Catholic hospital where he was kept inside a bubble because he lacked any kind of immune system. His parents bring him home at the age of 4. They place him inside a giant bubble that can keep him away from germs. He's only allowed to read a single magazine, and he's told that there's only one show on TV, The Land of the Lost. He's homeschooled by his racist and highly conservative mother. He's given food and other things through a contamination chamber, and the neighborhood kids make fun of him outside his window. That all changes when he is 16. A girl named Chloe moves into the house next door. Jimmy has taken a fancy to Chloe, and he watches her from his window. Meanwhile, Jimmy is going through puberty, and his first erection shocks him. He screams for his mother, who tells him to recite the national pledge whenever he gets an erection. She also reads him stories that always end with the character getting out of his bubble and dying. One day, as Chloe comes back home from school, her friends tell her that she lives next door to the creepy Bubble Boy. She decides to meet him, and Jimmy's dad casually lets her in. She walks up the stairs alongside a giant bubble tube, and there she meets Jimmy, who's quoting some dialogue from Land of the Lost. Chloe also knows about the show, so they both start talking. He offers to teach Chloe how to play the guitar. She asks him if he knows her, and Jimmy says that she's the whore next door. That's what Jimmy's mom calls Chloe. Chloe laughs it off and leaves. The next day she comes back and they play guitar. They become close friends and spend most of their days together. Chloe is there for Halloween too. And at Christmas, she gives Jimmy a bubble hamster as a gift. Then one night, she knocks on Jimmy's window. She's drunk, and she wants Jimmy to give her a birthday kiss. She tries to come inside through the contamination chamber, but she falls asleep in there. A few days later, she's going to prom with a guy named Mark, who's a musician. She starts dating him, and Jimmy thinks it's all because he isn't brave enough to get out of the bubble. While Jimmy is playing in his bubble one day, Chloe comes by to tell him that she's going to marry Mark in 3 days at Niagara Falls. Jimmy is sad, and he doesn't say much to Chloe, and even gives her the bubble hamster back. Chloe leaves a gift for him and goes back. Jimmy opens the gift to find a decoration with a letter that says, "I love you." Right then, Jimmy decides to go after Chloe. He makes a bubble suit, and the next morning he gets out of his bubble. He barely makes it out the door after a lot of tumbles. He's fascinated by the world and starts walking on the road. He gets to a bus stop and asks the guy on the counter for a ticket to Niagara Falls. But he doesn't have any money, so the guy doesn't oblige him. Jimmy starts walking, but gets hit by a bus. The bus belongs to a commune who are happy that Jimmy isn't hurt. They offer to take him to Niagara Falls, but on the way, Jimmy figures out that they are a cult run by a guy named Gil. He calls them a cult and they get angry. They throw Jimmy out of the bus in the middle of nowhere. Back home, his mom is freaking out. The cops don't take them seriously, so she even writes a fake ransom letter. Then she drives around looking for him at the bus stop. The guy tells her that Jimmy is going to Niagara Falls with a cult. So his parents start moving there. Jimmy, on the other hand, is walking in the desert when he comes across a biker named Slim. He offers to repair his bike's tire and also tells Slim his life story. Slim is moved that Jimmy is going to get his girl, and he decides to take Jimmy to Niagara Falls. Slim also tells Jimmy about his lost love, a girl named Wildfire. The cult, on the other hand, is receiving a sermon from Gil. Gil declares that their savior is in the world moving around in a globe, and they have to release him. The cult members think Jimmy is their savior, and they start looking for him. Jimmy and Slim reach Vegas, and they plan to win some gas money for their trip. Jimmy is enjoying Vegas, and he even plays some games. They run out of cash, and Slim leaves him for a minute. That's when Jimmy sees a prize scooter, and he ends up winning it. So he leaves Vegas alone on the scooter. Meanwhile, Slim is looking for him when the cult members ask him about Jimmy. He's angry at the cult guys, and they run over Slim's bike and go after Jimmy. As Jimmy is slowly going on his scooter, his parents see him on the road. They try to talk to him, but end up hitting him with their car. Jimmy flies off a bridge and falls into the compartment of a moving train. When he wakes up, he finds out that he's on the train of a freak show company. The company uses physically challenged people known as freaks for their show. These people tell Jimmy that a man named Dr. Freak owns them. Just then, the train stops and Dr. Freak comes in there. He's an extremely short guy. He sees Jimmy and wants to recruit him, but Jimmy wants to leave. Dr. Freak gets angry and Jimmy accidentally knocks him unconscious. He starts walking to Niagara Falls, but the freaks are following him. He tells them that he has to go alone, and then gets on a hand-powered rail cart and leaves. He stops at a diner where some hunters are picking on an Indian guy. He stops them, and they ask him about his outfit. He tells him about his immunity issues, and everyone in the restaurant freaks out. They run out and accidentally start a fire while Jimmy gets stuck inside the restaurant. But the Indian guy comes in there with his ice cream truck and saves his life. His name is Push Pop, and he's a religious guy who wants to help Jimmy, so he agrees to take him to Niagara Falls. His parents, on the other hand, are asking Freak to help them out. He's looking for his freaks. Jimmy's mom calls and tells Chloe about the situation and blames her for everything. In the meantime, the freaks steal their car and run away, so Freak and Jimmy's parents also steal a truck and go after them. On the road, Push Pop accidentally hits a cow and kills it. He's really sad about it, and he can't go on any further. Jimmy starts walking again. Slim is also after Jimmy with his gang when he stops near Push Pop. The bikers start eating the ice cream when the cult bus runs over their bikes again, and the bikers go after it in Push Pop's truck. Jimmy finds an old taxi driver, Pappy, who asks for $500 to get Jimmy to Niagara Falls. To earn the money, Jimmy enters a mud wrestling match where two women try to take him out, but they get knocked out themselves. Jimmy gets the money, but the cult members catch him. They try to release him from his bubble, but the freaks and the bikers get there. A fight breaks out and Jimmy gets in the car with Pappy and leaves. Pappy tells Jimmy how he hasn't spoken to his brother for 86 years because of a woman. Jimmy falls asleep, and when he wakes up in the morning, he notices that Pappy is asleep, and a bad turn leads to Jimmy flying out of the car as it drives away. Jimmy goes to a convenience store and calls Chloe, but Mark picks up. He tells Jimmy that he can never marry Chloe, so he should give up. Disappointed, Jimmy calls Freak to get into his freak show, but Jimmy's mom takes the phone from Freak. They're coming to get him, and Jimmy tries to steal a beer, but causes a lot of damage. The girl at the counter says it's okay, but it turns out she's actually robbing the store as well. When his parents get there, his mom wants to take him home. His dad sees that Jimmy is sad, so he gives him a chance to talk to Chloe and lets him run away. Jimmy runs to an airfield where his parents and the cult members are after him, as well as the bikers and the freaks. Jimmy gets on a plane, and it's being flown by Pippi, who's Pappy's brother. Slim sees Jimmy's mom at the airfield and realizes that she's his long-lost love, Wildfire. Jimmy gets to Niagara Falls as the wedding is on its way. He falls into the water and goes down the waterfall, but survives. He enters a church and takes off his suit. He and Chloe say the vows and kiss, but Jimmy passes out. Everyone thinks that he's dead because of the germs. All the chasing parties, including his parents, have arrived there. They're all sad. That's when his parents tell him that he developed immunity at the age of 4, but his mom wanted to protect him from the dangers of the world, so she lied. Jimmy gets up, he's angry, but he forgives his mom and takes his bride away. On their reception, the cult members are now following Push Pop, and his parents have joined the biker gang. The film ends with Jim and Chloe being driven by Pappy and Pippi and their teenage love, Punani. And that's it for today's recap of The Bubble Boy. Feel free to share your thoughts in your comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time in another Real Recapped.